What's up, guys? We just got back from seeing the opening day premiere of Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins.
So let's start talking about it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Brothers Talk About. My name is James.
And I'm Chris.
And so Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins. This film, while I was interested when it first got announced, I was never one that was like, okay, the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe movie, it could have a lot of potential. I was like, why would you kind of start out with Snake Eyes? But the more and more we started getting trailers and hearing more about it, like, you know what, this could be dope. But when the film got these early press screenings, a lot of negative reviews started coming out for it. That was kind of drawing some more negative attention to the film.
It made me worried.
Yeah, it was making us both kind of worry about where this film kind of would go and what our opinions would kind of fall on it. But I'm going to let you guys know, and Chris can give his feelings on it. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a fun time to watch it, and going to give a quick overview.
I thought it was a good movie. I was going into it reading some negative reviews a couple hours before going to see it. Not really looking for negative reviews, but I just was like, I'm curious. Let's check Rotten Tomatoes. It got a low score, and a lot of people were disappointed with it. So I was like bummed out because I was really looking forward to this movie. I like Snake Eyes. I like G.I. Joe. I grew up with the original two G.I. Joe movies. While they're not great, I still enjoyed them, and I thought they were cool action movies for back in the 2000s. And the cartoon, my dad's always been a big fan of it, so we went with me, James, my dad, and a friend of ours, and we all actually walked out of the theater, and we all thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It set the bar pretty low, so I was kind of like, worried, and I thought it was going to maybe suck, but it didn't suck. In fact, it was good.
Yeah, I personally believe that the negative reviews that I was hearing, honestly, it lowered my expectations enough that I actually really did come out maybe even liking it more than I would have just walking in, so maybe the negative reviews kind of helped my experience. But we'll kick it off by starting out with the things that I think was really the highlight of the movie, which was the cast. I thought that Snake Eyes, Henry Golding, brought a good performance to maybe a character that wasn't written to be maybe the most honorable or most cunning character. He kind of had some flaws in his kind of morals that kind of ended up maybe kind of ruining his whole friend group and his whole arc for him on his own with his own choices. But then I think the other real standout of the film was Andrew Koji's character,
I really
Tommy.
like that guy.
I really liked his performance in this movie. He kind of gave this really charming, cunning role as this kind of dude who's in this kind of family samurai, not samurai, but like organization that is trying to kind of rule over Japan.
Yeah.
And he kind of had I like that aspect of it. So what do you think about it?
I enjoyed the film. I thought it was cool. I think the cast was a good choice. A lot of people were mixed right off from the beginning with Henry Golding being cast as Snake Eyes because typically he's a white blonde guy and he's not supposed to show his face and he's not supposed to talk. So a lot of people said they were going to boycott the movie from the very beginning. I took it for what it was, and I think it was a good movie. The Henry Golding gave a good performance. He's a little cocky, and a lot of people say that they didn't really like his character because he wasn't nice and he wasn't a good hero. But given his situations, I thought that he portrayed the character pretty well. He kept me entertained and engaged. I really liked Tommy, his character played by Andrew Koji from the Warrior series, which I started watching Warrior and it was good, but I never finished it just because it got a little too risky for my liking. But I think the guy is a great martial artist, and I just wish, that's the one thing I'm going to get into, wish he could have shined a little bit more because he's a really cool martial artist, along with my boy, I might say his name wrong, but it's Akil Watts, and he was kind of like the head trainer guy that Snake Eyes went up against with the cups of the water, which I thought was cool. So all the other guys, I like the red-haired lady, I forget her name, but she was really
one
cool.
of the
G.I. Joe girl.
Joes, yeah.
The other side characters were okay, but those were the highlights. And the girl that was Snake Eyes' and Andrew Koji's, Tommy's,
the head security.
Yeah, she was cool.
She was pretty
So
cool.
I like the film. Going forward, I totally understand where the negative feedback and reviews lie with this movie, because if you're going to overly criticize it, it definitely falls short of what it could have been. I think that the movie has its ups and downs, but it's a different take on Snake Eyes. It's not true to the comics. It's not true to the original origins of Snake Eyes. It's kind of like the director's or the studio's complete rendition of it.
I want to say something on that. I do agree with that. I think that Snake Eyes since he was more a side character in the franchise, but he's become the coolest, most badass, cool character of the series.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes is just so cool. Even just looking at him, he's just so cool.
I love
so I think that making him kind of changing his character. Since the G.I. Joes aren't big, they don't have this really huge lore currently, they're not as big as they were back in the 90s. I think that they could have, it's their right to take kind of creative liberties and making this character more of a mainstay that can kind of give us a leading role. And that way you do have to change some of his aspects of his character by making him show his face and talk more. So I forgave that.
I agree with what you're saying, and I say the same thing. I just still take into account that if they were going to do a true origin story, I feel like they could have did it a little bit more to please the fans, because especially with giving him, spoiler alert, the costume at the very last end of the movie. With Henry Golding's Snake Eyes, I feel like they just slapped the label Snake Eyes on him, and he could have been any character, but they chose to make him in the path to become Snake Eyes, because it's nothing, it differs away from all the other tellings and what we all know of Snake Eyes, so it's a big change, and a lot of people just weren't happy with it.
Change? Yeah. Big change.
They did Storm Shadow pretty well, but the conflict between them wasn't as strong, I feel, as they've done in some animated movies and the True Origins, but I think that in the end, at the end of the movie, it was decently paced, and I felt like it gave a good reason why Tommy's character would go on to become Storm Shadow, which the cheesy kind of like name drops in the movie with your shadow before the storm.
Yeah, you look like the shit. Yeah, I agree with that.
The whole dice thing with the Snake Eyes thing, that was cool.
I didn't mind it.
I just feel like a lot of people are going to have the issues with the movies, especially when you're a hardcore G.I. Joe fan. And I am a pretty cool, I would say, decent G.I. Joe fan, but I don't mind when characters, when they swap races and for roles, like, to a degree. Like, Snake Eyes, if he's a guy that's mainly in a costume,
it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter if he's black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. I mean, if you want to stay true to the comics, yes, he's not a accurate version, but I think for what it was, as a new modern take, I thought it was cool.
Alright, so now we'll kind of maybe pivot more towards the story and maybe the action of the film. So I think, like you were mentioning earlier, the story, while not being the most, maybe
Creative.
Unique or creative story out of the bunch, I think it made for, personally, a fun and entertaining action movie that maybe, like I said, not the most unique story of all, but was satisfying enough that I would enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the story moved along pretty well with the trials of becoming a ninja and becoming into like the Brotherhood of the
The Bushido Code.
Mikage. I don't know what the heck they call themselves.
And then maybe we can talk about some of the fight scenes, because that was a real mixed aspect of the reviews.
Okay, so I will say this, and I have surprised. I'm sorry I didn't say this already. If you're not a fan of shaky cam, this movie does have a lot of it, but I will also say the other reviewers that are on YouTube are kind of making it seem like it's as bad as, like, Taken 3 or any other movie like that. Like, it's like jump cut, shaky cam. They're, like, destroying this movie with saying how bad the shaky cam is. And it is bad, but it's not unwatchable. They're like, I couldn't even follow the scenes in the fights. It's going so crazy.
I didn't agree with that.
I had no issue seeing where a punch was going to land and seeing it finish, or the sword fights. I wish that it could have been more steadily filmed, but for what they were going for, yeah, it was a little bit much, especially that everybody's even hyping when characters were just walking, they were still doing like shaky cam, but
I didn't mind it too much. The really only spot that I really noticed the shaky cam was the very beginning of the movie during that cage match fight. That's the only moment where I felt like that really, the shaky cam took me out of the fight, and it didn't make me feel immersed and really interested in what was going on.
I noticed it as soon as hearing it, that it was going to be in the film. I noticed it right when the fish scene, when he was like helping Tommy, when he chose not to kill him.
Yeah, so I think that one topic that I can reach off of that one is that the fight scenes, they didn't have much impact. They weren't really that creative in their fights. They were very just like, there was just one moment I was laughing to myself where Snake Eyes jumps into a crowd of dudes. I think it was during that fight. Mm-hmm. He jumps into this crowd of guys, and he literally just like bumps into them, and they all fall, and then they never get back up to fight again. It's like, I've been pushed by my little sister harder than that, and like, what even is that? Like that's gonna incapacitate them to not be able to fight anymore? That's a little ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I think that some of the sword fights were good, but they could have been done a little bit better, especially when your main characters use a lot of these weapons. I feel like they had cool visuals, and I really like the whole Japan, Tokyo aesthetics of the movie. Cool. I like that culture and everything that they have to offer with the samurais and the ninjas and all that. I really enjoyed it. But when you're doing all these fast-paced motions with shaky cam, it takes away from it, and you don't get to see the flow and the beauty of the style that much. Also, with the punches, there was like one cool kick that Henry Golding Snake Eyes did in the beginning Other than that, it was a lot of just like back and forth elbow smashes and a lot of, for me, ridiculousness. Like, especially in that first cage match. The guy gets his head thrown into a brick wall and stuff, and he still comes out on top. Like, the dude he was fighting totally wrecked him, and it was a little unrealistic with that. There was a couple times that they did those fancy, like, stylized jumps.
Those always take me out of the movies, like those like classic like Japanese films where they like do like the
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and stuff like that.
I'm not a fan.
I can forgive it if it's just supposed to be like, it's not really realistic.
Yeah,
it's
like
G.I. Joe. They got a
exactly.
magical crystal rock that shoots people like 40,000 feet and vaporizes them. But there was a couple cool twists here and there, hearing about like his father, and they completely changed like a lot of the things. But like, his origin with the father, and if you've seen it by now, you know that he was a G.I. Joe. So I thought that was cool, and it touched upon that. And people say like he really was unenjoyable the whole film, but I feel like he did change a little bit. Like he chose to open his heart.
I thought he was fine
after a while, and come to grips with letting the past die. But people say he didn't change his motives completely. Like his attitude, they almost just like, okay, well, that guy, the bad guy who killed his dad, wasn't really the main reason why he died, even though he was. It was really Cobra all along, and that was the big twist.
I didn't mind that because Snake Eyes, he's not Captain America. He's not like, he doesn't have these super high morals. I mean, he does have a code, but even still, like, I don't mind that he's kind of more of a character with an attitude, because it makes his character more interesting to learn about, I think, and have him grow over time. He doesn't automatically need to be the super honorable warrior.
Yeah, I think he can grow over time, and I don't have a problem seeing him and learning about the origins before he becomes the guy in the suit. When he becomes the guy in the suit, say in future movies, if he gets a sequel or other things, then they can kind of go back to comic accurate, like how Ray Parks did him as Snake Eyes in the original movies, and I really liked his performance, Ray Park, as he was Darth Maul and he played Snake Eyes. What a fantastic job. I love the guy who played Storm Shadow.
He was so dope.
I don't know right now if the new cast is as better as the old cast. I think they both have their ups and downs, but going forward, I really like the two actors that they have in place right now.
Me too.
I'm curious to see if he does take a vow of silence and if he continues to keep showing his face. I mean, he's got that money-making, crazy rich Asian face, so you never know.
So yeah, I think that will kind of end off this review by saying quick closing thoughts. Personally, for me, I enjoyed the film, and I would be interested in seeing a Snake Eyes sequel, or if they turn it into a G.I. Joe movie-based sequel, I would definitely be interested, and my butt would be in the seat at that theater to check it out.
I was actually happy because I was dreading the movie going in, saying like, oh, we paid money for these tickets. This could have been a direct-to-DVD movie, which it kind of can. You can't wait to see it on DVD. It's not like, oh my gosh, you need to see this movie. But it's enjoyable enough for a cool summer flick that I recommend you check it out. Take all the opinions into account, but also give it your own opinion, and share with us down below in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. Did you see it? Is it a movie that you want to see? Do you care about G.I. Joe? And what did you guys think of the old movies versus the new one? We'd love to hear from you guys. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for watching this video. Give it a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more movie reviews coming soon.